Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So there is a magazine, a gay magazine by the title of Out, that essentially the editor in this gay magazine stated that the new movie Superman actually is an allegory. You know where it's going. An allegory for the gay lifestyle. They essentially say in this magazine titled Out, which is a gay magazine once again, says that Superman's outfit represents the gay lifestyle, that the original writers of the Superman comic books all the way back in the 1930s essentially had subtext this concept into the character. And so so they're going to read that into these people are going to read whatever they're going to read into any character, anyway. So I'm going to get right into this article, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. Here's the article right here. Let you guys know. Here's the article. I'm not making this up. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from that article. And let me point this out. I did not see the new Superman film. Came out Friday, but I did not see the new Superman film. And I didn't want to see it, and I don't want to see it now. And the reason for that is not because of any accusations of Superman being gay or any of this, or any woke agenda or any of that. That's not it. I just simply didn't want to see this new Superman because I had seen enough Supermans. I mean, I grew up with Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman. I really, really love that. To me, in my opinion, just my opinion, he's the best. I've seen the other Superman. I've seen Superman Returns. I've seen Man of Steel. I really like those. But for me, Christopher Reeve is the best, in my opinion, okay? But that isn't the reason why I didn't want to see this new Superman. I just didn't feel no need to see it. I'm not really into the superhero concept like other people are. I'm a horror film person, so that's what it is with me, okay? Although I do like some superhero movies, I don't tend to go to them on my own that often. It's just not something I do. But at the same time, I am hearing and looking at a myriad of videos, and I mean like a myriad, like quite a few of them that are speaking negatively about the new Superman, okay? That it's directed by James Gunn. He directed something of the galaxy, whatever. I don't know. Look, I don't know. You guys know about I don't know much about the superhero stuff. What is it? Guardians of the Galaxy. That's right. Guardians of the Galaxy. I know somebody that's watching is like, oh, Mr. Bowling, you shouldn't even be speaking on this. Well, first of all, let me just say, sidebar, I'm not here to critique the movie because I didn't see the movie, so we're not going to get into that. But anyway, yeah, as I said, I'm not much into the superhero thing, movies and all that. I never was really into that. But James Gunn, who's director of Guardians of the Galaxy and also Brightburn too, which I didn't pay attention to the fact that he had directed a film called Brightburn back in 2019, basically about an evil superhero. I liked that film. That movie was brutal. It was brutal. It was bloody. It was rated R. I mean, and that went over a lot of people's heads, but that movie was deep. I recommend it. It has its flaws, but yeah, great film. But at any rate, James Gunn is the one that has directed this. There's been a lot of controversy about this new film, and most of the people's reviews of the film is negative. That's what I've heard. I don't know, people. Maybe you've seen it and you liked it. Maybe you've seen it and you didn't like it. I'm not going to critique the movie, okay? I'm not going to critique that. I'm going to critique what this article is saying about what these people in this article, gay magazine, what was it? Out magazine, which is a gay magazine, essentially is saying that Superman represents, okay? And then I'm going to give my spin or my opinion on what they're saying, okay? But at any rate, this is what I'm hearing about the film. And I am hearing that some sources are saying it's woke. Some sources are saying that this is not the Superman that they grew up with, that Superman is basically getting beat up 90% of the film. And it's just not good. Very few people I'm hearing are saying the movie is good. I'm just giving you my opinion based on what I've been seeing, okay? But anyway, Let's get right into this article. And the title of the article, as you can see, you can probably can't see it that much here. The title is, quote, Out Magazine, Superman is a gay icon, always been a queer allegory, okay? Gay magazine, Out, is claiming that the character of Superman is not just, quote, an immigrant, but he is also, quote, a gay icon and quote, always has been, okay? Always has been. Let's see what they have to say. The magazine floated its wild claims in an editorial on Thursday, just ahead of the worldwide debut of James Gunn's Superman feature film. Gunn stirred controversy this month by not only insisting that his Superman character is a immigrant, and I saw that quick flash interview what he said, but he also told those who don't like the left-wing political message in his movie to go get screwed. And that is what he said. I heard him say it. That's what he said. And when he said that, I said to myself, if I ever had any inclination of wanting to see the movie, I definitely don't now. Because if you talk like that, then to me, you telling me it's going to be woke. You're going to be pushing some political agendas in this movie, and left-wing political agendas. And I don't want to hear that, because that's not the Superman that I know in terms of movies. The Christopher Reeve movies, that wasn't the kind of stuff that I saw in him, okay? It wasn't any political message. It was all about America and all and helping people. That's what I perceived from the Christopher Reeve films, okay? But that's another story, and I digress. Let's go on and see what else this article has to say. Superman, though, has never necessarily been portrayed as, quote, an immigrant per se. In the comics, the character has always identified himself more as a citizen of Earth, and in past years, a citizen of the United States. Now, clearly, the writer of this article clearly is familiar with the comic books. I'm not. This writer of this article is, okay? At least apparently. Maybe you guys more familiar with it than they is, okay? But then this writer of this article is. If so, put it in the comment box and make it and give your comments. But apparently this person who wrote this article is saying this is how the character of Superman was actually presented in the comic books. It goes on to say, after all, he left his alien home planet as an infant, grew up in Smallsville in the USA, and only knew about his home from the computer files his parents sent with him to Earth. He has far more affinity for humans than for Kryptonians, I think that's what they call it. But on top of Gunn's reimagining of Superman's ethos as a immigrant story, now Out magazine is taking even more of the masculine stuffing out of the Man of Steel and proclaiming that he is a gay icon. For Out, self-identified lesbian writer May Rude, interesting name, right? Claimed that the Superman character has, quote, has always been a queer allegory, a fact that would have been news to Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the men who created the Man of Steel in 1933. Out has looked at the various aspects of the Superman legend and imputed a gay subtext to all of it. For instance, the writer claims that Superman's alter ego journalist Clark Kent is evidence of the same sort of, quote, double life that closeted gays lead. I find that interesting, right? It's interesting how they take this and say, okay, really, that's representing, that's a subtext there. Okay, let's assume that there is a subtext there. It's a subtext, in my opinion, that the editor of this magazine is putting in it. Because the writers of the magazine, and any writer of any magazine or story or book or screenplay are aware of any subtext that they put in their stories. A writer, and I'm one myself, if I want to create a subtext in something, in dialogue or in a scene or whatever, I'm going to be fully conscious that this is subtext. Hopefully the reader will understand that this is subtext and is communicating a secondary message. Okay? In this particular piece here that the writer of this particular magazine, Out magazine, is trying to say, is simply them taking their own worldviews, the gay lifestyle, and imputing it onto the magazine and reinterpreting it to fit their worldview. Because the writers who wrote this back in 1934, I'm pretty sure if they was trying to put in a subtext of Superman, Clark Kent being some type of a allegory for a double life, a closeted double life like gays live today, they would have been fully aware of that. Anyway, it says, quote, the concept of a secret identity is a clear allegory for being in the closet, the article explains. Wow. The magazine also insists that, quote, being an outsider, end quote, and the hypermasculinity of the character also touches on gay subtext. Check this out. Then there's a costume, and I knew in the reading, when I read the headline for this particular article, I knew that they were going to say something about this. Even before I read the article, I knew that this magazine was going to say something about his costume. I knew it. And it makes sense. They're gay. So, of course, they're going to see this as, no offense, but it is what it is. It is what it is. That's going to be a turn on. Let's go on. Then there's a costume. The article claims that Superman spandex is gay all the way, saying, quote, spandex, a bright cape, and the underwear on the outside? Did I describe Superman's costume or an outfit you see at any Pride festival? And evidently that type of stuff has been and is in many Pride festivals. Okay, so they're saying when you see that type of stuff in the Superman, I guess that's kind of like a subtext, okay, that really Superman is representing these people in the gay pride because he's wearing his skin tight, outfit. In conclusion, Out claims that Superman is gay and straight people need to look somewhere else for a hero. No, we don't. No, we do not. But I'm going to get into the gist of my commentary on this when I get finished with this ridiculous nonsense. No matter how much conservatives complain, Superman's story is an immigrant story, and it is a queer story. Queer people have always seen themselves in superheroes and will continue to do so. If conservatives want heroes that don't represent the queer community, they need to look elsewhere, the magazine proudly says. Now, the writer of this particular article is going to give their spin right here, okay? This seems like an opinionated part right here. This historical revisionism is an absurd reach. It is patently obvious that Superman is an example of, quote, an outsider, granted. But for Shuster and Siegel, that did not mean to denote anything about homosexuality. With both creators being Jewish, it was the outsider status of Jews they were commenting upon, not that of gays. That makes sense. The writer of this particular article, in criticizing the assessment of the writer in the Out magazine, seems to make sense right here more so than the writer of the Out magazine is trying to say. Okay, because these two gentlemen that wrote the original Superman comic books were Jewish outsiders. So it would seem to make more sense that they would be trying to say this to the Jewish people who were considered outsiders, not gay people. Just saying. Anyway, the LGBT community can glom onto superheroes all they want, of course. That is what art and entertainment is all about. The idea that patrons might find their own meaning in the art. And that's true. People tend to bring to books, bring to movies, bring to music, anything that has to do with art, they tend to bring their own worldviews to it, okay, and interpret it to what they think it should mean, okay. But that does not excuse Out for attempting to take possession of the Superman character and to exclude those who don't see anything gay at all in a superhero story, okay. End of article right there. Yeah. I wanted to read the gist of that because I wanted you to really understand what these people were saying in this magazine. Look, once again, I didn't see the movie. I don't have any plans on seeing the movie. for the reasons I just given. But here's the deal. People have the right to project onto Superman whatever meaning they want to project on him. Okay? The LGBT plus community can project on him any meaning they want. That's their choice. You live in America, you have the freedom to do so. Ain't no big deal to me. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm not going to get upset about whatever, But here's the deal. First of all, as a heterosexual male, that's never been the perceptions that I've had of Superman. Superman, for me, during the Christopher Reeve era, I always saw him as a hero. I always saw him almost, and I was sharing this with someone, almost as a Christ figure. What I mean by Christ figure is he was like a Jesus figure to me, to some extent. I mean, he came to sacrifice his what he wanted to benefit the good of mankind. He lived on a planet that basically was filled with gods in some sense of the word. And he came to earth to be a blessing he gave up all of that on that planet and came to earth to be a blessing to the earthlings. Okay? To me, that's like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ gave up the glories of heaven and incarnated himself in human flesh to be the sacrifice for the sins of humanity here on earth. So to me, I saw the original Superman as a Christ figure. I also saw him as a Christ figure in the sense that he was super. Okay, he was a Superman. Which is what I'm hearing about this current Superman from so many different people that have watched the movie. And once again, I'm not critiquing the movie. I'm just making a comment on the people that have critiqued it. And I know people say, well, you need to see the movie yourself. Trust me, I don't want to see it. So we're not going to go over that. But has said that Superman is not Superman in this movie. But in the newer version. But for me, Superman was always a Superman because he was Superman. Not only did he come and sacrifice himself for the betterment of humanity in terms of coming down here on earth and giving up the glories of his former planet, but he was also a Superman. He could do practically anything. He had emotions, but his emotions didn't control him. People didn't beat up all on him and overcome him to the point where there was just no hope. Now, in the second Superman 2, when they had the two people battling him, they was just as strong as he was in many senses of the word. That was cool. I loved it. I loved that they showed sometimes he was getting beat up, but it wasn't like, my goodness, he's just a wimp. He was a Superman, and at the end, he overcame them. He tricked them because he was and is, in my view, Superman. That's why he's called Superman. He can move planets. Okay? He can do the impossible. He's Superman. Okay? That's how I have always seen him. And that's how I want to always see him as a heterosexual. I don't see him as any of that. I don't see him as no gay. He representing an immigrant or representing the gay community or any of that. That's how they perceive him to be. That is not how I perceive him to be. And in terms of heterosexual people or the conservative community needs to, if they want to find find a superhero, they need to find it somewhere else. Bunch of bull crap. Stop trying to take icons that most Americans have embraced for a zillion, quadrillion years and then try to twist it to fit your worldview. Screw you, dude. I said it. Screw you and the horse you rode in on and all the cavalry that came with it. I'm sorry. I tried to be nice about it, but I just can't be nice when people say dumb, stupid stuff. Okay? I'm going to go look elsewhere. I don't look no elsewhere, nothing. Okay? That's how it was, and that's how it is, and that's how it's going to always be. Get over it. You can bring to whatever you want to bring to the table, but don't come in my face trying to tell me to look elsewhere for a superhero. He's going to always be Superman to me, and I don't care what they say. Go sit on a toilet somewhere and take a dump. That's what you do. I got to be entertaining every now and then, people. But anyway, that's my take on this and what these people had to say about that. That's a whole bunch of bull crap. That's their opinion. They stick to their opinion, but I'm gonna stick to my opinion. What do you guys think about what these people have said in this magazine and their perceptions of Superman? Do you believe in it? You believe that's what it was? Give your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you all again.